where you are in your life currently, you may think that it has no value. And you may be right that it's not your end goal, but you will be amazed at how some of the lessons that you will learn from where you are now will be really valuable in your final destination. Hey there, welcome to Entrepreneurs with Heart. I'm Adria.
And I'm Sydney, and we're here to help you build a rock-solid business so that you can kiss that 9-to-5 goodbye and turn your side hustle into your dream job.
So, if you're looking for down-to-earth advice from someone who's actually grown a business from scratch to 7 figures, you're in the right place.
We got the scoop on everything from growing your online presence, nailing email marketing, and even how to build your team without losing your mind.
Right? Plus, we'll dive into content marketing, website hacks, social media tricks, getting more traffic, staying productive, basically everything you need to know to grow your business without going back to school.
So, if you're ready to take the leap and make your side hustle your full-time gig, hit that follow button and let's get this journey started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entrepreneurs with Heart.
Because
we have them, and so do you.
Never
You
gets
so
old.
do.
It never gets old.
All right, so last episode we had on an amazing guest named
DeBlair.
DeBlair. It was a Jalynn because Jalynn is on my mind, but they work together.
So let's talk about both of them.
I want to talk about DeBlair
Okay,
first.
all right, let's do it.
DeBlair. That's the goddess, the queen. She's
right.
So there were a lot of takeaways, I think, from that episode.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys didn't tune into it, you should definitely tune in. But if you haven't, we'll give you a little bit of recap. So DeBlair is, what would you call her? Like almost like a lifestyle coach?
Yeah, she's like a life coach for sure.
Yeah.
What does she call herself? I think she calls herself an executive coach. That's what she calls herself, an executive coach.
And basically, her job is to look at your life and see how she can make it better,
basically.
Essentially. And this is from like fitness, finances, all kinds of different areas of your life, and even just self-care, because that is a priority. And in that episode, we didn't only just talk about what she does and the many books that she's released, which are amazing, including a workbook on how you can improve your own life. But she also talked about her upbringing and her story and how she got to where she was. And I think that was probably the most inspiring because it was kind of a rags to riches type of story. Like coming from humble beginnings and finding her way in Mississippi and finding her way to where she is today.
It was great. I know we're not talking about Jalynn yet, but that's one of the parallels that I saw between both of their stories about how their upbringing and their passions kind of wove into where they are now. And so how DeBlair, although she was raised in a disciplined household, she wasn't adhering to those principles. And she kind of self-corrected by enrolling herself into the military. And then she applies a lot of those military tactics into her everyday life to make her better and into her clients also. And they're similar with Jalynn, how her journey led her into working in hospice. And then she pulls those compassion tendencies into Black, Pretty, and Paid, working with her clients. So I thought that was exciting. I think it's really exciting because where you are in your life currently, you may think that it has no value. And you may be right that it's not your end goal, but you will be amazed at how some of the lessons that you will learn from where you are now will be really valuable in your final destination.
For real, because that's what I was gonna, if you weren't gonna say it, I was gonna say it. I think a lot of times we think about the end goal and where we want to be, but we don't really think about the journey and how we get there and the little tools that we pick up along the way and put in our toolkit for when we're actually ready to use them. And I think, like you said, in both stories, both of their stories, and probably even in our own stories, we can find those moments where it's like, wait, I went through this. I had this job at Chipotle when I was 16, but I learned something from it that I apply now at 25, right? So, look at your life and see if you can see some type of correlation. What skills have you picked up over the years?
Yeah, and I think that's really great because we all have our days where we're like, why am I doing this? I meant for greater than this. And you are, but what lessons can you learn where you are that will benefit future you? I think that's really great, and that could help kind of pull you up out of the dumps when you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I still working at Publix? Why am I still delivering mail or whatever that job may be. Like if you have a small business, but yet you still have to work your corporate America job 9 to 5, like why am I still doing this? But instead of thinking about that, be like, you know what, I learned this today, and that's going to be a valuable skill that I can put into my future self.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another amazing takeaway that I got from DeBlair's episode in particular was the impact of mindful thinking.
Yes.
Being in control of your thoughts, in control of your habits, in control, because I feel like especially your thoughts, the way you think can dictate your entire life. Because imagine this, you wake up, something wrong happens, right? And you start spiraling because that negative thing brings in more negative things, versus like if you have a positive day, you wake up to an amazing email, the day feels perfect because you're radiating that positive energy, right?
Yeah.
So that just shows you the impact of how your thoughts can really attract things to you. Right. And it can also dictate the way that you approach each and every day.
Yes.
And your own habits. I think hearing DeBlair mention The Secret, which is a book that I really enjoyed reading, and I learned a lot from that book, and something we're watching the movie this weekend, remember? So, if you haven't read it, give it a read or a watch. I think there's a movie, and really come into it with an open mind. It may seem woo-woo, but when you think about it, our existence is all woo-woo, little people on a rock floating in space. It's woo-woo. So just come into it with an open mind, and if you don't take anything else from it, just remember that the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you think has a huge impact on your day-to-day, which is a stepping stone to where you want to be.
Yeah. I remember there was a day last week that things just not going well, like the night before, things not going well, and it's one of those mornings where you wake up and you're like, I have to deal with all this shit, right? And I caught myself saying, this day is going to be awful. And I just said, no. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's going to be a great day. And that stood out to me. That day did, because there was no evidence for me to base that on.
Right.
Things were all in the shitter. There was no evidence for me to base the statement that today is going to be a good day on. But it turned out being a great day. Everything turned around, and it was a great day. And so to me, that was a really great example of, putting positive thoughts out there. Because it's just as easy for you to say it's going to be a good day as it is for you to say it's going to be a bad day. Yeah. And you just say it. Just say it. Yeah. But bonus points if you believe it. And then just like you're saying, when you start to have a bad day, it starts to snowball. But the same thing happens when you have a good day.
Yeah, you know? And it's like the thing is, these good things are all around you. I think it's also taking a moment to be grateful for the little things that you have. Like, a lot of times I'll be like, I have to do this. But recently I've been thinking to myself, I get to do this. Right. I have working hands. I can walk. I can see, I can breathe. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, when you think about those simple things, you don't take those for granted. Like, any day that you wake up and you're able-bodied, it's a good day. Right. Anytime that you wake up and you get to, or anytime you go to work and you get to come home to your family, that's a great day. Everybody's safe. You know what I mean? You have to create those moments and the definition of what is a good day. What really, really matters. Because sometimes those things that are like negative, they don't really matter. We just make them matter, right? Yeah. So make something else matter instead. Yeah. And a tactic that I've been learning, which wasn't from DeBlair or Jalynn, but from Asking It Was a Gift Is Given, which is a book that you recommended to me. Have to Read The Secret. Yes. Is this concept of what if. Because for me, I've always felt like I was this half glass empty type of person until there was like, instead of saying I want, it was like, what if? What if it goes well? What if everything works out perfectly? What if today's a really great day? What if I get that promotion I wanted? What if? Because doing that, like for me, I've noticed it helps me catch the negative thoughts, but also shift them to having positive thoughts and what would make me feel good. Like, what if I had a video that went viral? What if I got a sale today, right? You just get that dopamine hit, and then it's just
it's that excitement.
Yeah, and just that curiosity behind it, because it's letting you accept that is a possibility.
Well, also, I don't know if this is in that book or The Secret or in another book, but basically when you start to think that, then what happens when you say those what ifs is that you start to kind of plan like what that would feel like and what things would be going on around you if that were to happen. You start to dream and imagine a little bit. And I believe one of the books says you're almost like creating that reality for yourself a little bit.
There was like the virtual reality thing. I know in the book that I'm reading that it was pretty similar to that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I think one of the books was saying that you can almost kind of trick your body and your mind into thinking that you're already doing it, and then that kind of sets those things in motion as well.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel a lot better.
It does.
Right?
I mean, let's just embrace the act of feeling good.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like sometimes dreaming and embracing all the positive possibilities, it just feels really good. And then not to mention, they start coming your way. Which
exactly.
is really cool.
I believe that was in one of the books. I read 3 of those books back to back. It was like The Secret, that one, and one other book. I can't remember which one has these principles in it. But one was definitely saying that if you want to think positive, one of the ways to do, like the step before saying something positive was to think positive, and the step before thinking positive was to feeling excitement or feeling like what is that feeling that you're trying to capture when that thing happens, and that's really impactful.
Yeah, I feel like if you're able to feel it without the other things attached, that's a different level of control. Yeah, for some reason that feels very hard to do, which I wonder why that's the case. But so back to DeBlair. One other thing that I feel like I learned was that it's all a journey and not everything happens overnight, and everything is an accumulation of consistency.
Yes.
Because I feel like for her in particular, so the military added on these different habits, but then life experience added on the habit of, okay, I'm going to work hard, because the military does teach you to work hard. Yeah. But I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to prioritize my friends and my family.
Right.
I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I feel like, again, I guess does go back to the first takeaway, but I think this is just to show that everything does take time. And I think we a lot of times try to rush into this idea of having the perfect life and wanting to get it so quickly. Right. But realizing that it's an accumulation of just like little itty bitty habits you build up over time.
Exactly. Isn't that what you remember Brandon, who some great guests on lately. But I believe one of the quotes, or his favorite quotes, was something about how excellence.
That's Waleed.
Oh, that was Waleed. About great guests too. About how excellence is, I don't know, like a series of doing things. It's actions. And they said, so excellence therefore is a habit. Right? Yeah. And I think that's so true. That you don't just wake up being excellent. It's those consistent little habits that you build over time. Yeah. So good.
So good. Such good stuff.
Such good stuff. Definitely check out the last episode. Now, what about Jalynn?
So, with Jalynn...
Oh, love her.
I think what Jalynn has taught me the most from what we've, from our discussions, right, has been the power of knowing thyself. The power of knowing what am I strong at and what am I not so strong at, and how that can help you build a great business. Yeah. It also help you build a lot of self-awareness, even if you're not an entrepreneur. Yeah. I think, like, when we look at Jalynn's experiences, obviously, with, like, being in hospice and her childhood experience of being able to sort of see the full potential of an opportunity, combined with her being like, oh wait, but I don't do graphic design, and I don't do this, and building her business from the ground up with people. Yeah. She also, I think she also taught me the power of community and not doing it all on your own. Yeah. I think a lot of times we feel like we need to, it's this American individualism type of mindset of like, like self-made. You know what I mean? Like all these things is like, it's okay if it takes a village. Yeah. It's okay if it takes a team. It's honestly more realistic.
She's all about the team.
Yes. And I think that's something that I've learned, because I know that like some of you guys may be like me in the baby stages of your business, and you can feel like, wow, like I just want to do everything myself. I can, because you want to be that helicopter parent. But I think hearing her story reminded me the importance of sometimes relinquishing control and letting other people in.
I think that's so true, and it's funny that you said that because Jalynn and I had an experience just this week because I was like a little frustrated that the website for one of our part releases isn't coming on as fast as I wanted to. And you know me, I just do it myself, right? And so I took back some pieces that I had given her and said I'll just handle it myself. And not her, but her team. I'll handle it myself. And then some other pieces that were coming down the pipe, I was doing it myself. And what I loved, and she, I loved that. We had a conversation about it on Friday, and she could tell her feelings were hurt, right? So she sent me a sweet Slack message on Monday. Says that, you know, that she wants to earn my trust back on these things, and that she understands that I feel this way. And then, so that was the first thing. It's just that she didn't push me. Just like, I understand where you're coming from. We're here to support you however you need it. And then she just kicked it into gear and got like all these things going. And then just over the course of the week, she just will just nudge and say, "Are you sure you don't want to give us a try to take over this again? Are you sure we can't take this off your plate again?" You know, just like, are you cheering up?
That's so sweet. No, because because it's the type that takes a lot of like selflessness to not be
defensive
or bitter,
you
know. But more like she knows you're busy. Yes. You be tippy typing away, all focused. This is me being my mom, tippy typy, tippy. And so, like, we all know how you are. Yeah. So for her to have that type of like compassion, and that care, but to also be self-aware enough to know that you feel this way for a reason. I think is really, really, really powerful. And really, really, really sweet.
It was so sweet. So then and then she knew how to get me to give it to her, and it was by checking these other boxes off. And so, first thing on Monday morning, the site was working. Then the next day, something else was knocked off. And so after like the third thing, I'm like, okay. I remember I said, okay, you twisted my arm, and she gave like the dancing emojis. She was like, and that's a strong arm to twist, but we'll take it. I mean, it was so great.
So can we just talk about how sweet both of these ladies
are?
Oh
my goodness.
How sweet, beautiful, and talented they are. And I love it, you know? You
know, one other thing I love about them, and it speaks to what we've been talking about, is that they both have mentors. So as amazing that they both are, they both realize the need to be around someone who can identify their gaps and pour into them.
And it's important, because there was this saying, that DeBlair said in our interview for her, and it was that if you don't have one, you can get all wrapped up in your own head and your own ego. And I think that is so, so, so true.
And scary.
Because it can happen so quickly. That one minute, imagine, you have people hyping you up all the time, saying that they look up to you, that you inspire them, that they want to be like you. You've even had people, remember that one time we went to that event last February, and they were like, "How does it feel to know that you made it?" And from there you're gonna be like, "Well, it's a cute night on foot. It feels pretty good." You know what I mean? You could, but what you said, which was so humble, was like, "I don't think I made it. I don't consider that I made it." But to some people, it seems that way,
right?
You know. Right. So I think, did you have a mentor back then?
Yes, I've had a mentor for 10 years plus.
Yeah. So that's the importance of it, to not get in your own head, because I also think when you don't boost your own ego, you're able to pay it forward and actually help other people, and not build a superiority complex that there's not room for everyone, and not, you know what I mean? You can see yourself in other people because you're so humble, because you're still working on that.
There's work to be done. And I remember I went to I was a guest. I was a guest speaker at, I think it was the mayor's event, and it was about. I was talking about mentorship because I was her mentor. So I was talking about the importance of mentorship, and I remember that these were entrepreneurs. Did I mention this to you already? But none of them had mentors.
No,
none of them had mentors. And then I said something, and you could hear a pin drop. But I said, if you don't have a mentor, what you're saying subconsciously is that I know everything.
And I know, here's the thing though. I think, this is why I'm so happy we did our series on mentorship, which you guys can check back on if you want to. But I don't think that some people know that the resources exist.
They
know
don't.
What I mean? Because I didn't know about SCORE until we discussed it, and then now I have a mentor.
Right.
So sometimes it can be sometimes it's hard to come up to someone and ask them for help, and maybe that's because of the fear of rejection of like, oh, they wouldn't want to help me, they're too busy, they're like, wait, that putting someone on a pedestal, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people make excuses for not asking for the help that they really, really want.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age where it's like you can Google so many things, but you can't Google a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can't. And it's so important. I think it was a story of it was a pope or a dignitary of some sort. I don't remember, king someone, but he hired someone to go behind him and to whisper, "You're only a man. You're only a man. You're only." That was his job.
Oh, like to whisper to him.
To him. Just to keep him humble, right? And I just think that having that accountability partner in your life, so not only one who can see your gaps, which is important, but that's a gap as well, that you can, just like what DeBlair said, like, because she's at that level where she mentors a lot of executives, and a lot of them think, much like I did, that I don't want to say had everything figured out, but I came into it feeling I had most of it figured out. And she was there with her military style of delivery to inform me, no, you do not. Let me call out these 7 things, these 7 areas right now that you need to work on. And I think that is so important, But at the same time, she praises me when I do well. She nudges me as well. And it's great because having a mentor means that you are entrusting someone with the hopes and dreams of your business and other aspects that are important to you. And so their job is to keep you on track with the thing. Because what happens is that as an entrepreneur and a mom and a wife and all these things, you get wrapped up in the emergency of the day, the event of the day, and you can lose sight of the trees for the forest, right? So you get all wound up, just like I was telling you all in the conversation in the podcast with Blair, that she reminded me, this is what you asked for. You need somebody who'd be like, this is what you asked for. Have you kissed your husband today? How is Alex doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like things that you said before to me that are important. How's your diet? You drink your water. Things that you said were important to you while you're complaining about this particular wholesale order and how he did you dirty and blah, 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 blah. Have you kissed your husband today?
Yeah.
Did you eat your vegetables today? Right? When's the last time you checked your finances?
Yeah.
Like, it's keeping you on track and not letting you get all lost in your feelings or all lost in one direction, and really reminding you that, hey, okay, you said you want to be on the beach at 60. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you also mentioned about, like, because I feel like it can feel brutal when it's like a mentor is there to find the gaps, but when you mention that they're there to, like,
to support
you and applaud you when you do things well.
Oh,
I think something that can happen a lot is when you're so focused on that end goal that can feel so far, far away.
Yeah.
Right? Having someone to like be like, you're doing great. I'm proud of you for showing up, and you did this. Wait, you just launched a new product. Let's celebrate for a minute.
Yeah.
Like with Jalynn, you know what? In her episode when she mentioned she had a hard time celebrating herself.
Oh, remember that? She said she had like the best, she like landing the biggest deal or whatever, and then she just couldn't celebrate herself.
Yeah. So that's
imposter syndrome is a thing.
It's a thing. So to have someone who's looking out for you from the outside and knows how much hard work you've been putting in, knows that you've been showing up for yourself, and knows that you deserve the praise that you're not giving yourself. Yeah, it's good to have that person there too, because some, like, your family is there for you, your friends are there for you, but that mentor is someone who will actually really understand.
Because your family, your friends, they don't see all of you. They see certain aspects of you. Mm-hmm. You know, like you show your husband certain things, or your spouse certain things, and you show your business partner certain things, you show your mother certain things. But the great thing about a good mentor is that they know all these facets about you. And what I tell Blair stays with Blair. Mm-hmm. And it's great because she and I have some of the same business partners, but they don't know any of this business, you know, any of the things that we talk about. So it's so great. I cannot overemphasize the importance of having a mentor, because you deserve it. You deserve it. And like you said, if you go back and rewatch our episode on mentorship, there's so many free and cheap options that you can take that you got to do it for yourself.
Yeah, and I would say from personal experience, from like delving into those resources, that after seeking a mentor based on like what I actually do, I've never felt more understood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will say, and that's from talking to Chloe, but also talking to Jalynn about my goals, and like, and even I think DeBlair mentioned something about this too, not about my own personal goals, but something that like I applied to myself, and it was something along the lines of, just because there doesn't feel like there's you have a dream, like how she says it, like what do you want? You know what I mean? You have a dream. And just because, and how so many people be afraid to say what their real dream is, because they don't think it's possible.
That's what took us into the dive of the secret and affirmations and that. Because if you don't believe in your dreams, can they come true?
You have to generally believe in them. You have to see them.
You have to see
the way that you can see, like, I don't know, maybe this is weird. I'm a very, very visual person. But, like, the ways you can see, like, flash back and see what happened in the past, it should be the ways you should be able to see your future in a way. You should be able to visualize it, like, and it's not just materialistic things, but are you happy? Do you see yourself happy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what does that look like?
What do you see yourself doing?
Yeah.
I'll say mine. I see myself in a lovely modern house with the sun peeks through. I always see it too, like this little, and there's like this, I'm just painting next to this big window in the sunlight, and my hair is long, and it's fabulous, and I look snatched. And I'm happy, and I'm, you know, and that's something that I continue to like visualize. And it's like a little flash of a moment, but each time I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to that moment. So just like don't be afraid to dream. You know, don't be afraid to write down what you want, because just because you haven't seen it, number one, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and it also doesn't mean that it's not possible for you.
Yeah, you know? Plus it's fun. It's fun to dream.
It's so fun.
Just imagine when you were a child, right? And all the games we used to play, all the imagination, all the pretend games, right? And how much fun that is, right?
It's fun. It's a good time. Before you go to sleep, maybe right when you wake up, or even if you're taking a break during the day, dream a little. Dream a little. Just don't dream while driving. Don't get in a car accident. But yeah, so that really resonated with me, because like I feel like I got that validation, number one, from Chloe, with the YouTube channel.
That's what I want. So let's take a moment. Let's take a fucking moment.
Sorry.
And let's talk about how, let's just call a spade a spade. Let me get my fruit. We're about to fish. So, for you guys who have been with us since we were just leaf notes, not entrepreneurs or live hard, because we have them, so do you. You remember how one of our first episodes was on imposter syndrome?
Yes, I think it was our second episode.
And we talked about you. I don't know if you broke down in tears that episode like you usually do.
I'd be crying.
But I remember that one of the action items that you had was to create a YouTube video, and you were terrified.
Yeah.
You were terrified. And then also, there was something about you posting to your followers on IG, even and really opening up and being more vulnerable, and you were terrified of that. But yet, you secretly admitted that you would love to do that. That's who you like really admire.
Yeah.
And then, so that happened, and you did that, but you didn't like. That was like the beginning of it. You didn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because it was scary.
Well, it was scary, and also I feel like I was creating the content that I felt other people would want, and not the content that I genuinely like watch and that I wanted to make. You know, I thought, what can I do to make something like? Because you always hear add value, but value, and so I thought the easiest thing, how I do what I do. That felt easy, but also value can be relatability. It can be motivation. It can come in so many different forms. But yes, continue.
So let's fast forward. So I don't know, and you can correct me. There are other little pieces in here. But then I remember we did our episode on mentorship in school. You roll your eyes like you do. And then, cause you're like, there's won't be a mentor for me. I'm an artist, and no one can see the artiste.
Although I was feeling a little bit more open to it, just a little bit deep inside. I'm not sure if I showed it in the episode, but because Wally, we had him on, and he had the background. He had the background
of an artist,
and he gave me this advice. I'll never let go. Like, Wally, you did it for me, man. You're a very inspiring person, and I appreciate you for saying this. It was saying that like your skill is the value.
That's right. You just said that.
And that
was deep. Man.
And that made me like, it still makes me choke up a little bit because like I feel like all this time I've been searching for it. All this time I've been thinking like, what can I provide to, you know what I mean? And then it just all was that simple.
Like you already have it.
Yeah.
Like you are enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happened, and then the score episode or the mentorship episode, and you went out and found Chloe, and then tell us again what happened.
Chloe was like, "Girl, why are you just making short form content?" She was like, "Yeah, I was looking through all your stuff, and you like do a lot of short form. I was surprised you didn't have a YouTube channel. You need to start doing YouTube."
Preach, Chloe.
You need to start doing YouTube. And it could be anything, but I'm telling you, YouTube is going to be the game changer. She's like, I'm happy that you're getting sales from like short form, and I'm happy that's happening. But I think this could be way bigger for you if you just like actually make a YouTube channel. Basically, our whole conversation was like how I can revamp my website, with how YouTube could be that game changer.
Wow! And
so that's when it was like plugged into my mind. I think. I talked to her in July, and then in August, I decided, I'm not sure what happened or what made me just think, I'm going to get up and I'm going to start filming. But I think it was the first week of August, I decided, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And then now we are almost 8 videos in. I'm working on my 8th video now.
And how many followers do we have?
We have 1,189 followers.
Amazing. And they're engaged. They're not just following. They are commenting. They are locked in.
And I will say that I feel, and I was telling my friend Ashley this because we have monthly catch-ups where we can talk and, you know. And I was saying like this, for some reason, this 1,000 followers, it feels like a really big milestone because I'm doing something I never thought that I could do, but always dreamt of being able to do.
Right.
Like, I've always, was like, wow, I wish I could do that. Yeah. Like, specifically, like, the people who were vlogging and the people that I felt really connected to. I was like, I have things to say and feelings and stuff. Like, I want to say them. And so, like, it feels... And then I was like, but it could never be me. I'm too this, I'm too that. Like, you know, no one would like me. So, with this, it didn't... With Instagram, it's so easy to just follow and unfollow people. But I know for me, as someone who uses YouTube regularly as my own TV, it takes a lot for me to subscribe to someone, for me to like a video, and I never comment. So for people who comment, that's to feel compelled to say something to me is beyond me. So I feel like I have like this community of people who said yes to me as I am, instead of who I've been pretending to be for the last year. Not saying, I mean,
Instagram
said, but there's like, it's 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
How much of me can you get to know in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, I got a lot of things to say, and it won't fit in 30 seconds. And so, again, like, I feel really grateful for that audience, and that audience is different than, like, than my Instagram audience. I think that's okay. You know what I mean? There's people who are there for just, like, the quick fix. Yeah. And that's totally fine. But it's a different feeling to feel genuinely accepted, and people being like, oh, I'm from Korea, and I found your channel, and I connect to you, and you inspire me. So, Korea. You know what I mean? Like, people like that. Talking about my videos are so relaxing. Yeah. You know? All the while, like, and now I'm like, well, why didn't I do it sooner? Yeah. Because I really enjoy doing it. And it also has been really great for my mental health because, yeah, I film just as much as I did for Reels. Mm-hmm. But I think it's different than, like, it's a lot slower as far as, like, you post something. You're not posting every single day. Right. And I think there is a mental thing that happens when you post and you're wondering how people receive it. Yeah. For that to happen every single day when you're posting can be a mental strain. So yeah, I feel really good. I think good stuff. And I think my YouTube channel is gonna grow a really nice community. We already have a really great community, but I think it's gonna be a really. It's something special. Yeah, I have high hopes for it.
It's something special, and I love it because I felt like you manifested it.
I do too.
I felt like you manifested it, and I feel that now that it's happening, I feel like you already were thinking this is how I would feel if it were to happen, and then now you're validating, like, this is how you feel. And it's like feeding onto itself, and it's why you're growing so fast.
Yeah, and again, that's what, like, I feel like I'm growing, at the perfect pace. Like, it's not like something where it's like, right. But it's because I would be overwhelmed. Yeah. I would quit. I'm so sorry. Like, that's too many people. Because then it becomes a lot of people. But I feel like I'm growing at a pace where I get to ask people what they're working on. You know what I mean? What art are you creating? And at a perfect pace where I can really get the connection with people that I really deeply want. Yeah. And like you said, I do feel like it is a manifestation because it's like I've only been posting a video every single week for a month now, and I went from 300 subscribers to 1,000 and almost 1,200. So almost really like 1,000 subscribers in a month.
It's insane.
And yeah, but it also makes me feel like it's it's a sign.
It is a sign, and and I know how you say you do wonder why you didn't do it sooner, but I wonder if you would have the same level of gratefulness for it if it would have happened without what you went through with the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that bobbing and weaving.
Yeah, I also feel like the types of videos I made wouldn't maybe have been the same.
For
you know
sure.
What I mean? Like, maybe I was still trying to make videos of, like, helping people versus, like, I mean, I do feel like versus making videos that start up conversations or make people feel comforted and validated and not alone. You know what I mean? So I feel like it, like you said, it took me this journey to really to take that risk of putting myself out there.
Right.
You know. Yeah. Which is, it's a hard thing to do.
It's a hard thing to do. But I do hope this is an encouragement for all of you guys. Like, what do you want to do? And what are you dreaming of?
And what is stopping you? Like, nothing's stopping you from, like, doing the thing. I know it's hard. It's hard to think that, but there's people who need you, and whatever you're dreaming of. I always feel like your dreams and the things that you're passionate about are there for a reason. You're like, I told my friend Ashley this because, like, for the longest time, she's wanted to do acting, but she's delved into art. She has a very successful art YouTube, but she's been kind of like drifting away from it. Yeah. But she's fallen in love with acting again, and I'm like, there's something about that, So those dreams, those things are like, oh, it would be nice if I, go do it. What if? It goes back to the what if. What if it all went so well, better than you expected it to?
And even if you don't do it, when those thoughts come up, if those dreams come up, do not be so quick to tell yourself to snap out of it and stop dreaming. Give yourself permission to dream, because you'd be amazed that, and really immerse yourself in the dream and feel like, what does the wind feel like on my skin, and what do the muscles feel like when I'm smiling? Who's next to me? Really immerse yourself into it, and you just might surprise yourself in a few weeks.
Yeah, you really might. And I feel like you like, no, you are the biggest dreamer.
Yeah,
I feel like you are the biggest dreamer, and I feel like your dreams can, like, I mean, you still have even more dreams.
Continuously.
But they come true.
Continuously. I remember distinctly, like one I can think about distinctly recently, so we're having like a little bit of drama with the farm and trying to figure things out there. I just sat and thought, like, what if the farm was close to my house? Like, how cool would that? My ultimate dream is for it to be in the backyard of my, of my shop.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, like we're looking for another place, and what if it's close to my house? What if?
Yeah.
And I was making calls and doing things, and it wasn't working out. But I kept thinking, well, what if? And getting excited over like the little glimpses of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was at the thrift shop with you. You remember I told you about this?
No.
I was at the thrift shop with you and Alex the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And who loves to thrift is Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
So
you called her.
I called her, and she's like, I have land.
I didn't know that.
She's like, I have land, and now I have a meeting at our old place.
Wow.
Right down the street on Wednesday with Eddie and her plumber to set up fencing there and get the beds laid there.
So that's going to be the
and
farm?
That's going to be at least for a year or so.
Wow.
Right down the street.
That's awesome.
And you know what's so amazing about that? Is that she's been looking for just a little bit of extra income, just the same amount that's in my budget, so that she can do something else to fulfill one of her dreams. And so she was in tears on the phone call.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
I like how your dreams fueled someone else's dreams.
To me, that's the most beautiful thing, when you can see God or the universe, if you want to call it that, at work. And how, just like when I hired Demara, and she just happened to be looking for a part-time job at that moment. And so when you can see how the little dream of yours coincides with the little dream of someone else's, and then that helps to really validate that it's meant to be.
Yeah. I also think about that, like, as far as, like, people that I look up to. Them chasing their dreams inspired me to chase my dreams.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, their voice, their courage inspired me. And it makes you think about, if there's anyone out there who is, like, wondering why chase their dreams, do it for the other person that needs you.
Oh, that's a good one, Sid.
Do it for the person that needs to hear your voice in order to take action, to take their dreams seriously, to follow their dreams. Because, like, I wouldn't have thought that my dreams were possible or wanted to do YouTube unless I followed my favorite YouTubers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they inspired me to. And it's funny enough, in one of my videos, that one of my favorite YouTubers commented saying this, because we're like acquaintances.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm really proud of you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, like,
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel seen. I can't believe she's, like, because, we follow each other on, like, Instagram and different things, but we're not close. So she had no reason to do that. But so for her to do that meant so much to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, with that being said, just, like, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people out there who need you,
So, we're going to wrap up, but I would like for you guys to do us a favor and just drop in the comments what your dream is. We want to know. Yes,
we want to know. And I want to, again, thank Jalynn and DeBlair for being on this podcast. We love you both so much. You're both so inspiring, queens, powerhouses, and you're just doing the damn thing. So thank you so much for being on our podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you haven't yet, go check out those podcast episodes. Hopefully we can have some cards up here that you guys can click on and check it out. And with all that being said, we're entrepreneurs with heart.
Because
we have them. And so do you. Thank you guys for listening or watching.
See you next time.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs with Heart.
If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment below and tell us what your takeaway was. Or if you're listening, take a screenshot and share it on social media with your takeaway. If you would like to leave us a review, head over to your favorite podcast app and give us a 5-star rating. This will help us reach more small business owners just like you, and your feedback helps others find our show.